This video will walk you through the disassembly and reassembly of the Microsoft Surface Pro 7 Plus for Business tablet. Before you begin, ensure that your work surface is covered with an ESD-safe, non-marring material like this anti-static mat, and make sure that your surface is clean and clear of any debris or abrasive particles. Equip an anti-static wrist strap and ensure that your work area is properly grounded and safe. Lastly, make sure you're wearing protective eyewear during any repair as a safety precaution. If you're performing a touch display module replacement, make sure to run the TDM pre-repair software preparation before you begin any disassembly. To begin, make sure your device is powered off and disconnected from the power supply. Place the device face down on your work surface and raise the kickstand to about 90 degrees. While bracing the back of the kickstand with your hand, use your 3IP Torx Plus driver to remove the 4 hinge screws. While grasping both hinges, lower the kickstand to about a 30-degree angle. To remove the kickstand, we need to free it from the threaded bosses on each hinge. Raise the kickstand about 10 degrees and pull the kickstand out and away from the tablet. Inspect both the plastic tabs and foam on the kickstand. If the tabs or pads show any sign that they may have left pieces behind in the devices, abort the repair. The whole unit must be exchanged. Do not attempt to retrieve the stuck pieces through the slot. The rSSD is found behind this small door in the lower corner on the backside of the device. To access it, begin by inserting a SIM eject tool into the small hole on the door to eject it. Use a 3IP Torx Plus driver to remove the single screw securing the rSSD. When the screw is removed, the rSSD will pop up at a slight angle. Gently grasp it by its sides and pull it out from its socket at about a 15-degree angle. Make sure to store the removed rSSD in a clean, ESD-safe area. To separate the touch display module, we'll be using an opening pick, but we need to make sure we never insert it more than 8mm into the device for the next few steps. Measure your opening pick and mark an 8mm depth on it. This will help guide you as you slice through the adhesive securing the touch display module. Insert your marked pick into the lower corner of the right speaker mesh area and slide it down the edge of the device, making sure never to insert it more than the 8mm mark on your pick. This may require significant force. Periodically check your opening pick for any damage or deformation. If your pick has any, replace it before you continue. Continue slicing along the remaining edges of the touch display module, making sure never to go deeper than your 8mm mark. At this point, all of the edges of the touch display module should be loosened from the tablet's back cover. Gently lift the tops of the edge of the glass while pushing down on the back cover. If you encounter any resistance, use your opening pick to slice through the remaining adhesive. Do not try and remove the touch display module yet, as it's still connected by some remaining adhesive and some flexible cables. Insert the point of a spudger underneath one edge of the cable shield to pry it up, and remove it. Insert the flat edge of a spudger under one side of the cable connector and pry it up to disconnect it. Repeat this process for the second cable. Once the cables are disconnected, remove the touch display module and place it in a soft, ESD-safe location. To begin reassembly, we first need to clean any remaining adhesive off the tablet's rear case. Use a pair of tweezers or an opening tool to remove any large chunks of adhesive, and then use isopropyl alcohol to remove any remaining residue. Make sure the camera and IR sensor areas are cleaned as well. Inspect the speaker mesh, and if it appears damaged, use some tweezers to peel the mesh off the back cover. While you're at it, if you're working on an LTE model, inspect the gold antenna traces along the top edge. Any damage to the traces will require a whole unit exchange. To replace the speaker mesh, peel one piece of speaker mesh off its clear backing, making sure the blue backing remains in place. Align the speaker mesh with the corresponding opening on the back cover, and then press it against the cover for 10 seconds. Finally, remove the blue backing. Before installing the touch display module, refer to M1153910 in the device battery inspection process to verify the battery's condition. Devices exhibiting battery issues as outlined in the battery inspection process require a whole unit replacement. Also, you'll want to carefully inspect the inside of the tablet back cover, making sure the area around the battery is clean and free of any debris. Lay out replacement adhesive strips in the orientation that they'll be applied with their blue liners facing up. Peel the clear liner from an adhesive strip to expose the adhesive, and then carefully align it onto its respective edge, making sure it follows the case outline. Before we remove any of the pre-installed blue liners, we need to reconnect the display cables. Carefully press down on one side of the cable connector until it clicks in place, then repeat this process on the other side. Align a new FPC shield over the cable connector and press it down onto the motherboard. Peel the blue liners from all 4 adhesive strips. Align the bottom edge of the touch display module so that it rests against the case's lip, then set the touch display module into place in the case. Make sure the glass is sitting flush with the back cover and doesn't rest anywhere on the top lip. Place a bonding frame over the touch display module, making sure that the cutouts in the frame line up with the buttons on the tablet, then place a foam pad over the bonding frame. Place a 70-pound, evenly distributed weight on top of the foam pad and align it with the edges of the bonding frame. Leave the weight on for about 5 minutes to bond. Shift the weight up so that 3.5 inches of weight hang past the top edge. Leave the weight in place for an additional 3 minutes. Remove the weight, foam pad, and bonding frame, and then inspect the perimeter for scratches, cracks, or gaps. Slide the replacement rSSD into its socket at about a 15-degree angle with the label side facing up. Using your 3IP Torx Plus driver, install a new screw to secure the rSSD. Align the top of the rSSD door to the rSSD recess, then gently push down the bottom edge of the rSSD door until it latches in place. To reinstall the kickstand, first make sure the hinges are set to about a 30-degree angle, and then align the plastic tabs with the device slots. Gently slide the tabs 3/4 of the way in, making sure not to use any tools or objects for the insertion process. Tilt the kickstand slightly to slot the outer lip into the respective kickstand recesses, and then ensure that both hinges are properly seated and flush with the kickstand. With the kickstand aligned, tilt it down about 10 degrees to seat the threaded bosses into the hinges. This should fully insert the plastic tabs into their slots. Grasp both hinges with your fingers and then raise them to about 90 degrees. Make sure the kickstand is properly seated, and then brace the back of the kickstand with your hand. Use your 3IP Torx Plus driver to install new hinge screws. Fold the kickstand down and remove any protective plastic. Lastly, ensure the kickstand is flush with the rear case of the tablet and there are no obvious gaps between the kickstand and the case. Then use a microfiber cloth over the entire device to remove any fingerprints.